He was a loved child of his father Jacob, even before Benjamin came on the scene. And because of this, he was given a coat of many colors by his dad. And this instigated his brothers to resent and begrudge him. In their plan to killing him, God intervened through Reuben, and Joseph was offered to the Ishmaelites, who then sold him to a man called Potiphar, an officer and captain of the guard to Pharaoh. This was how Joseph ended up in Egypt. Egypt was not plan B according to God's mighty blueprint. While Joseph was in Potiphar's house, the Lord favored him. He was prosperous. He found grace in the eyes of Potiphar that he made him overseer of all his household and all that he owned. He was cited by Potiphar's wife, who then devised a plan to have sexual relationship with him. To our amazement, Joseph refused and ended up in prison after false allegation. Is this the end of his story? Is God aware of this? Why did God allow this to happen to such a young boy? What a trauma. It came to pass that the king's butler and baker offended Pharaoh and were placed in the same prison as Joseph. In prison, the butler and the baker both had dreams, and there was no one to decode or interpret except Joseph. Joseph thought and expected that the butler would recommend to the king that he should be released, but he was soon forgotten. The story continues. This is not the end of your story. After 2 years, the king had a dream that could not be deciphered by anyone. It was at this time that Joseph was remembered by the butler, who then informed the king about him. The king then sent for Joseph to interpret his dream, and the rest is history. To all the parties that featured in this story, it was God working in all, both to will and to do of his good pleasure. For all things are working and will continue to work together for good until you get to the end of your story. Friends, your story continues. Enjoy.